Welcome to Total Health Magazine on Total Health Television. I'm your host, John Barson. I was going to do a lengthy preamble, but I decided, no, I'm not going to do that today because we've got a really important topic to cover. And most of you who follow us will know my next guest. So let's just bring her in right away. And for those of you that don't know her, this is Dr. Sherrill Sellman, a longtime contributor to Total Health Magazine and World Traveler. She's also a women's health expert, author of What Women Must Know. Her latest book is The Hemp Health Revolution. But today we're going to talk about iron. And why are we talking about iron, Sherrill? Is it a big deal?
Well, iron deficiency, as it turns out, is a huge big deal. It's something I didn't know, John, and that was there is a statistic that claims 2 billion people on this planet are iron deficient. That's like almost 1/3 of the population of the world is deficient in iron, and the vast majority of those people are children. I had no idea it was such a huge problem, and that's a worldwide problem. We can narrow it down into what's happening in this country, but I just have to say that iron deficiency is a huge issue because it affects our ability to think. It affects our energy levels. It affects the development of our brains in children. It affects the development of the fetus. If you don't produce iron, you don't have the ability to create red blood cells that circulate oxygen to every single cell of the body, and then you become starved of this vital nutrition. So it's a huge problem, and we'll talk more about how it shows up in our culture and some of the other effects and symptoms and why we have a problem and who benefits from increasing iron levels. And we're going to talk about how to do that in a way that does not have any side effects, which is often the case with iron supplements.
Well, you mentioned fetuses. In the U.S., as many as 50% of pregnant women are iron deficient. 20% of women overall. Not so bad in men. Men are about 3% iron deficient. But as you were mentioning, as we were getting ready to do our little chat here, that it's actually a lot higher in athletes.
Yeah, I didn't realize that being an athlete, being a cyclist or some endurance sport or something that was, active and demands a lot on the body can make you very iron deficient. It's like through heavy breathing, through sweating, through peeing more. I mean, all these can reduce iron levels. And of course, if you don't have adequate iron, you don't have stamina and strength and vitality. You're exhausted all the time. So that's a big thing for athletes. I didn't realize that was a risk factor for an endurance type of athlete.
So
I didn't know it,
Yeah, maybe they did, but I would guess that most of them don't, because when in my research, I'm reading up on this, and there's almost no mention of iron deficiency on the websites in regards to what you should be doing for your program. They're usually more along the lines of, how to pick a better protein supplement, whey versus this versus that, and versus pea protein. But I don't read anything about iron deficiency, so I think it's something that they need to be made aware of.
Yeah, so the other big problem is, well, first of all, why do we have an issue? If you're a menstruating woman, you're at greater risk. There are all sorts of irregularities that happen that can lead to heavy bleeding. So if you have heavy bleeds, then you're losing a lot of blood, so you can be low on your iron levels or your stores of iron. If you are dealing with pregnancy, as you mentioned, it's a high percentage of women by the time they complete their pregnancy, they're very deficient. I mean, you think about it, their bodies are creating another being that has a huge demand. And if you're not eating well, if you're not absorbing well, there's a problem with iron, and that fetus needs the iron. And so does the woman to have the vitality of the mother. So that's an issue. Now, it's also a big issue for people who have various health issues. So if you have any sort of gut problem, I would say if you have an autoimmune disease, which has impaired lining of the gut, you tend to have a lining that has lesions or holes. So you have what they call leaky gut. If you have colitis, if you have irritable bowel syndrome, if you have celiac disease, all these kind of gut issues, you have leaky guts, you have bleeding, you have lesions going on inside your intestine. So you're leaking blood. It may not even be very obvious, but it's small amounts, but steady. So anyone who's got a major gut issue is generally dealing with an iron deficiency, or certainly are at risk of an iron deficiency. Just malabsorption. If you just do not have a healthy digestive system, you really can't take up iron, which is hard to get from the food generally anyway. But if you don't have the right gastric juices going, if your gut is impaired, and if there's something happening in the gut that's causing you to lose blood, all of those things will increase the risk of iron deficiency, have low iron levels. So it affects a huge segment of the population, more than we realize, actually, more than we realize. It's the athletes, the pregnant women, the menstruating women. It has to do with anyone dealing with gastrointestinal issues of any sort, whether they're small or large, it's still affecting them. And then we have the vegetarians and the vegans. And I hate to say it, but that is a problem for vegans and vegetarians, because there is a type of iron found in cereals and vegetables, and I think it's in some eggs, and dairy products, that is a type of iron that is very poorly absorbed. It's like 5% of what you take in with your food is actually translated into iron. So this population is really at risk of low iron levels. It's a huge problem, right? The most efficient way to get iron with your diet comes from meats, some proteins. Animals, whether it's fish, seafood, fish, meats, that's the highest source and highest percentage of iron. And that is what, up to 20% absorption of iron comes from those meats. We choose our diet based on lots of factors, but we don't often have enough knowledge to really either understand what risks are involved with something like a vegan or vegetarian diet if you don't know how to supplement. And that can lead to long-term health consequences.
All right. So what do we normally do right now if we're really low in iron? Because it can lead to anemia, which could be serious.
Yeah, iron deficiency, anemia is a big problem. So I just want to say, when I was researching this, I thought about my mother, who recently passed at 95, and for several years before, her iron levels were always low. She was always anemic, so she was pale. She couldn't think. She had no energy. You can't circulate the oxygen. You can't nourish the body. You become oxygen starved. And, it wasn't really clear. I think it's poor ability to absorb and assimilate when you're a senior. Your gut isn't really healthy. You're not eating foods that are high in iron. So the diet is deficient. Your ability to absorb what iron you can is deficient. And then she probably had some autoimmune diseases, so her gut was impaired, and she might have had some internal bleeding going on. Her veins weren't very healthy. And so what did they want to do? They wanted to put her on an iron supplement. When you go to the doctor, they'll put you on an iron supplement. Now, an iron supplement, number one, is very poorly absorbed. So your ability to actually increase your iron levels from taking a pharmaceutical grade iron supplement is very insignificant. And then there are all the side effects, because what is classic when you are on an iron supplement, pharmaceutical iron supplement, is, first of all, you get constipated. It binds you up. So you're constipated. For some people, you can get nauseous. Other people, you could have stomach aches and pains. It's like it's impairing. It's impairing these healthy functioning. And it can cause a lot of oxidative stress. It can actually be very detrimental to your health. It's not just an inconvenience, but too much iron can cause oxidative stress in the body, free radical damage. So it can actually impair your health. That is the choice that you get when you go to the doctor. And if they do a blood workup and they see you're low on iron, and they're going to say, well, you know, we need to give you a supplement, you're going to get the ferrous sulfate. You know, not a really great thing. I remember when my mom, I tried to steer her away from that and give her other things, but there were times when I wasn't there and she took it and complained all the time.
Well, I'm just looking at this at the side effects of ferrous sulfate. You've got constipation, dark stool, stomach pain, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, heartburn, urine discoloration. So
those are the minor side effects.
The minor ones.
Yeah, I would call them the minor ones because they're not particularly life-threatening or, you know, can compromise your health. But, you know, this major oxidative stress, that iron, can be a serious problem.
Right.
So it's not our best option. And that's why what we're going to talk about, the IronCatch problem, is issue found. I think this product is a novel way to understand how we can increase our iron levels naturally. It's not a drug. So let's launch into it. Okay. I think it's a really good time to talk about it. So this is a product that was researched out of Italy. And what they found was that when this formula, which is considered a food supplement, it's not considered a vitamin, it is not a nutraceutical, certainly not a drug. It's a food supplement, and it's made from what they call hydrolyzed concentrated fish cartilage. And they did the research, and there are actually some significant research that's been done showing that when you take this product that also has the cofactors that enhance the absorption of iron, such as vitamin C and zinc and folic acid, there's something else in there, it actually makes it more efficient to be absorbed. So when you take this product, you are able to enhance the absorption of iron from the food you are already eating. It's just making it more efficient in the absorption. So you're going to get...
If I don't want to interrupt, but what you mentioned earlier, the problem with vegans is they have a poor source of iron, and only about 5% of it is absorbed. So something like this is going to help them absorb more iron.
It's going to help on to get more. It's like getting more bang for your buck from the food you're eating. So because iron is poorly absorbed, if this is going to enhance the absorption 3 to 5 times more than what you would normally get, which is what the research has shown, and sometimes within a week in the research you were feeling better, and certainly a month and 2 months out, you're feeling significantly better. Your hemoglobin and your ferritin levels were raised. So they showed there was a definite improvement in your iron levels and your storage capacity, what was going on in your red blood cells and what was being stored. That's just by enhancing your own digestive ability to take in more iron from your food. Now that's huge. That's huge for people.
And this is like a normal mechanism of action when it comes to what we're eating and how the body absorbs things. I liken it to vitamin D3 and K2. Your body will absorb more vitamin D. Your bones will absorb more calcium. K2 improves the action, so much more effective, almost doubles the absorption of vitamin D into your body, which we all need. So you're saying this is the same type of idea. What this is doing as a supplement is it works by helping to draw that iron not just out of the food, but help your body absorb it.
Yeah, I mean, up to 5 times more efficient.
This is a new product too. We actually discovered this product when I was at the ingredients show in Las Vegas and looking at what was new on the market, I found that like the biggest topics there were CBD. The second one was it escapes me now, but CBDs were the big story. But I came across this booth that had this product, IronCatch, and it caught my eye, pun intended. And I started talking to the people from the company, and I asked them to send us samples, and if I could get you to do some research into the product for us, because I thought it would make for a very interesting article, providing that we, again, have come up with a supplement that will help, that potentially can help improve the quality of life of millions of people with no side effects.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, when you introduced me to this product, I was excited because it was a novel approach. It's very unique in what it's doing. I haven't found anything that was like it before. So it's really filling a niche that we didn't have. You know, a safe, natural product that just is going to enhance what we are already doing, but making the diet we have more efficient in iron absorption with no side effects. It's great.
Terrific. All right. Well, we'll be following up on this talk too. I'm going to be talking with one of the Italian doctors that was involved in bringing this product to market. So I'm looking forward to that discussion. Hopefully his English is better than my Italian. That'd be the only catch.
Yeah,
but
sign language.
in the meantime, however, we encourage our readers and our viewers, if you suspect you're low in iron, or somebody you know is low in iron, you could just follow the links below. And of course, you can read Sherrill's great article on IronCatch in the November issue of Total Health magazine. So Sherrill, I want to thank you for this.
My pleasure, John. It's great to be with you. And, you know, it's great bringing the subject to light, because I think it's not really understood very well. And now we can understand more of some of the symptoms. If we get our blood tests and they say you're low in hemoglobin, now people know what to do. Or if they're just feeling tired and fatigued, especially if you're on a vegan or vegetarian diet, sounds like IronCatch is going to be your best friend.
Right. Or if you're training for your next Ironman. Literally.
The next, yep. That's right.
I'm so bad. You know, my son, he puts up with me. He would like to put me up for adoption once in a while. All right. Well, thanks again, Sherrill. Dr. Sherrill Sellman has been our guest today on Total Health magazine. Follow the links below to get more information on her, and perhaps purchase one of her great books. And we will hear from Sherrill again in a week or so. So that's it for today. We will just wish you well. Be healthy. I'm John Barson for Total Health magazine. Have a great day.